The business transformation issue for telcos can be broken down into several major categories. One is how we fundamentally shift the ICT infrastructure, building a new extended digital infrastructure flexible enough to cope with the needs of the customer. And on the other hand, delivering the range of services that customers need to support either their business or their personal lives on whatever device they want, whenever they want, bringing in whatever applications they want. So it raises the question of ultimate flexibility across all the IT platforms.
I think one of the most challenging aspects to business transformation is the cultural acceptance of change. I think that the industry does need to go through some change. I think the industry accepts that change, but it's all a question of how that change is executed. And in our experience, those organisations that are prepared to accept some significant change in the way in which they do their business or operate their business, it really gives them the opportunity to take advantage of new thinking and therefore generate significant new value for their business. Our view is that the best way to enable that change and deliver value and set up for future growth is by moving to a new greenfield way of approaching business, rather than dealing with a lot of the challenges associated with legacy processes, legacy infrastructure. Our view is by making a wholesale migration to a new greenfield infrastructure gives the opportunity for standardising around processes, dealing with some of the exceptions in the business, and really providing a platform for growth, flexibility and agility, which really drives value moving forward. What we mean by greenfield is that rather than dealing with a lot of the sort of incremental change that typically service providers have dealt with, taking advantage of some of the thinking around a startup and saying, let's take a startup infrastructure, a greenfield infrastructure that really is fresh, not tainted by sort of legacy, and essentially migrating the business from legacy infrastructure, legacy processes, migrating it onto a greenfield platform, which, as I say, is not tainted by the legacy, and using that as a platform for growth.
Well, it depends what timing we're talking over. I've been in the industry for more than 30 years, and we used to actually refer to customers as subscribers many, many years ago. They weren't customers, there was no choice. That's changed in just about all markets around the world. Right, so now we have to compete for them, so they are true customers, they have choice. In Orange Business Services terms, actually most of our very large enterprises are more like clients. So we have a more intimate relationship with them than just a transactional customer one. But in the consumer marketplace, there is still very much that customer relationship. But we have to influence them to choose us rather than just rely on them coming to us. So that's if you like, the telco mentality about customers has changed much more about treating them as proper retail customers with choice. So no and yes. So let me tell you why no. No, for a large enterprise, their buying behaviour is based very much on a long decision cycle, understanding their own business behaviours, specifying things, maybe RFI, RFP processes in certain markets. For consumers, it's a much shorter process, right, to make the decision to buy. And it's a much more immediate relationship when something goes wrong or something goes right. So that's why it's different, and why we have to treat them differently. The investment we make in dealing with a business customer is different because it's much more about people that relate to those business customers. For the consumer marketplace, it's more about systems and processes and call centres and that kind of way of dealing with people. However, and this is why it's the same, actually we found the relationship we're having with most of our users in those large enterprise customers is also a personal one, because they may be customers of ours through their personal life. And in fact, as the separation between professional and personal goes away, right, we have to have the same relationship with them and make that experience be the same between both professional and personal sides. Actually, what our customers look for in terms of our service is consistent service delivery. So we have to be quite boring about the core offer. It must be consistent, always there, easy to understand, right? You can order things, they get put in, it just works. And then all the new stuff coming along, right? People want it quickly, it's got to be innovative. They often don't mind too much if it doesn't work first time. There's a more a beta approach. You cannot have both things running on the same infrastructure. So that's the challenge for all operators. The approaches we take, yes, there's a bit of fear because we don't want to mess things up on the existing infrastructure. There's a corporate culture of quite often our development processes are tied to not changing too much, to making sure that the existing services keep working. So how are we addressing the new things? Well, actually, we tend to set up over-the-top providers as business units within Orange, and they are effectively just using the network infrastructure the same as a third party would.